I will hand over first to Camille to get us started. Take it away whenever you're ready.
Okay, so hello everyone. So I am Camille Monchicourt. I am a IT manager at the Ecrins National Park in France, and I will talk to you about BAM for Biodiversity Around Me, which is an open source widget that we created to make biodiversity open data easily accessible to everyone, everywhere. So the Ecrins National Park is one of the 11 national parks in France. This is the purple one in South Alps, and we are managed by the Ministry of Ecology, and we also work closely with the Biodiversity French office. And protecting the knowledge of biodiversity is one of our main mission, and that's why we have built and developed several web applications and databases to collect, manage, and share our data about the biodiversity of the national park. But we did it mainly with another national park, the Seven National Park, in an open source model and generic, so that the tools that we do for ourselves could be used by other organizations. And that's how we have built communities, because we really aim to save the world all together. That's an hope. And after several years, we had the observation that most of these data are open. They are usable by experts, scientists, naturalists, with platforms like GB for also web atlases where you can get the data. But there is still a lack of simple accessibility to all this data for the general public that is not an expert or knows all this kind of tools or data. And that's how we started thinking and concepting the tools, the tool BAM. We saw about it as a widget that could be very easy to include in some website or web application to make the data very easy to access. The idea is like maybe you know the weather widget that you have on several websites that are very easy to include and that you can see in several websites. To have the same thing with biodiversity, maybe one day the people will be interested by biodiversity as much as weather. Not sure, but we hope also. So that's the first development session that we had with the Seven National Park and a few other national park in 2024, where we're starting developing this tool. So now how it works. This is a more complicated schema, but I will explain. First, as a widget, there is a web page where you can configure the widget. You give all the settings, like the color that you want the widget to be displayed, the way the information will be also displayed with a map or not, the data source if you want to connect to the GB for other source, and also, of course, the location, because it is based on the location of the information that you want. It will give you a simple HTML code as an iframe, as you can see below, and you can just copy paste this iframe code into your website, the same way you include YouTube video in an article or a page or a weather widget, as I said before. Then, when the page will be displayed, the widget will automatically connect to the data source. The main one is the JBIF. It will retrieve all the observation in the location that you have selected. It will also get some media and images to have a good layout of all the species from the JBIF or from Wikidata or other source. And it will display the list of all the species in this location. So you have nothing to install, no server required or no database, because it will connect to API, and it is multilingual in French, English, Spanish, but also thanks to the open source model, we got some contribution, and now it's also available in Czech, German, Italian, and we hope other language soon. Just a few examples. This is one of them. This is an example of the widget integration. This is a web page where you have a map of the schools in a German town. And when you click on one of the school, the BAM widget on the side will automatically get the location of the school and find all the observation in 500 meters around and display the list in a simple way, easily understandable by anyone, of the species observed around the school. Another example in a Trek website where you have the treks, the track, and all the information about the trek, but you can also include the BAM widget inside the page of the trek, and you get all the species observed around the trek to give additional information about the biodiversity for the people that will go to do some trekking there. Or this is another example in a simple web article that can be on the media or there it is on our national park website, and you include it as a YouTube video, but this time with the list of species in a location that you choose. It can be an event, an accommodation, or anything else, and you will have the list of all the species observed around. Finally, BAM can also be used as a standalone web or mobile application. You can use it in a widget included in the website, but also as a global application. You just go on bam.geonature.fr. You will be located, and the same way it will retrieve data from GB for other source, get all the species around you, and list all the species in the area around you. And you can move anywhere in the world the map to search for the species anywhere else. So that's it. To conclude, we try when any time that we create tool for our national park to do it with an overall approach, so let's say with open source and generic approach to simplify the data access and share our tools, the more generic and the more open as possible to improve the knowledge acquisition, the sharing, and the simulation of the data. And I thank you for your attention. I hope that I was good for the timing, but let me know
Yes,
if it. Okay.
you did great. Thank you so much, Camille. That was super interesting. We have time for maybe one or two quick questions. One for me was just, I'm curious to know what kind of feedback or collaboration or input would be most helpful from the Wild Labs community.
First of all, the most important for us is that it is known and used as much as possible. So I really thank the WildLab network to help us to let this tool known for as much as possible. But if you want to contribute, maybe you can add some settings or some languages. As I said, we have 6 languages. Maybe it can be interesting to have other languages. But the most important for us now is that it is used as much as possible in your website, in your web application, or otherwise just on your phone, and you tell it to all the people that know nothing about this kind of data or also about biodiversity, but has an interest or create an interest. So we look for some promoters and for users as much as possible. Yeah.
Very cool. It looks like we have one question from Allard. Allard, do you want to jump in and ask your question?
Sure. Bonjour, Camille. Je suis aussi
Bonjour.
francophone, mais bon. I will ask my question in English.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Does it in the US we use a lot, or I at least personally do use a lot the Merlin ID, which is very simple, but just for birds. Um, can this integrate in theory with that? It was developed by Cornell University.
The default use case is to connect. BAM is by default connected to GBIF data. So as soon as your data are inside the GBIF, they will um, they will be into BAM when you look for a place anywhere in the world. If you want to connect to another data source, this data source must have an API, and then if you have a specific list of species or anything, as soon as you make the connection with your data and your source, it will work. But you have to connect it to your specific data, and that's something to develop. But the most simple is that your data is included into GBIF, and by default, BAM connect to GBIF, and it will work this way.
Thank you so much, Camille. We really appreciate it.